Today on V8 Xtra, they're legends of Australian motor racing and for 11 years formed a highly successful partnership. They did it all. Bathurst victories, championship wins and huge success in between. Hall of Famers Dick Johnson and John Bowe join us to reflect on their chapter and a very rare disaster. We've raided the 7 Network archive to bring back some of the memories for this day of legends. And it starts right now on V8 Xtra.
Hi everybody, welcome once again to V8 Xtra. Well, as you know, the V8 Supercar Championship Series is in recess, so we're turning our thoughts towards the Enduros coming up in September and October. And on that subject, we're celebrating a great partnership in Australian motor racing from a couple of guys who did very well at those events. To help me through the program today, Mark Larkham, welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. It's actually a show I've been really looking forward to. I mean, not only are these guys legends, Neil, they're a little bit like Felix and Oscar. They're just a lot of fun to be around.
The odd couple of Australian motorsport. Let's welcome to V8 Xtra, Dick Johnson and John Bowe. Boys, 11 years together. I mean, that's a life sentence.
Well, for me it was. But no, it was a great partnership, and I think it worked very, very successfully, and it probably could have still been going had he have not bailed on me.
It's funny, you know, I always used to say to Dick, do you want me to come up to Queensland and live? And he said, no, definitely not.
Please don't.
I don't know what he meant.
It's almost unheard of, though, in the modern era, isn't it, to be together for so long?
Yeah, it is really. I mean, we were friends, and I almost became part of his family, I think, and it was, I think, a different time, and it wasn't quite as commercial, but we had a great relationship. Yeah. We still have, actually.
One of the things you'll be most remembered for is that Sierra era, and that was, in fact, one of my favourites pre-V8. You really got that Sierra working. A lot of blokes didn't. I mean, what was the trick? Was it Bowie's help, or did you do the work, Dick?
No, I had nothing to do with it. I just turned up at the right time.
That's a very long story, which we haven't got time to talk about, but a lot of it went in the engine department and things like that, and the amount of development we did on the chassis and that. And certainly when Neil Lowe came on board, and then the Stone Brothers and things like that, yeah, it was a great combination. Just
on that, I mean, you both had the same cars, supposedly. We see in the news a lot now, equal equipment between drivers. How did you deal with it back then? I mean, were you happy, Bowe, you getting the right gear?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, and they always assume that I was told to stay behind Dick, but I never was, ever. And my whole time I spent there, never once was I told by anybody that I had to follow him.
Like they assume Neil was told to stay behind Craig Lowndes.
Yeah, that's right.
Just couldn't catch up.
Well, in my case, that was the same. You know, it was just a genuinely, we both did our best, and I always, obviously, he was my boss, and I always respected him for that. So. You know, I think it's probably different now because everybody tries to beat their teammate. But
the funny thing was, back in '87, like I've never heard of the guy hardly before, except he had specs on. He used to drive open wheelers and a thing called Lucky Nuts or something. And then all of a sudden I get a Christmas card from him. Like, what's going on here?
Clearly wanted to drive.
Amazing what a good Christmas card would do.
What do you reckon was the key to the partnership? I mean, every now and again you see it in sport, not just in motor racing, where there's a click. You guys clicked, and you virtually owned the sport through a chunk of the 80s and 90s. What was it?
I can tell you what it was. He's the pessimist, I was the optimist.
Yeah, at the time. I've changed. I'm an optimist now. But and we had a similar sense of humour, and, you know, I mean, we actually just clicked as people rather than as teammates. And as I said, it's Dick's team. It always was Dick's team, and I respected that. And I never ever tried to be a smart ass and, you know, make him look bad, because he was the boss, and he treated me with respect as well. It's quite a technical thing, really.
It's unique.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder sometimes. So as time has gone by, you know, do you look back fondly at this period together?
Oh, I certainly do. At the time, you know, the successes we had, you don't probably appreciate it as much as you do later, because you're always focused on the next race. So you always, when we won Bathurst, you think, oh, well, 2 weeks' time we're going to the Gold Coast or wherever. So now I appreciate it much more, and of course I probably regret having left the team, you know, but regret's something you can't do.
Yeah, they say, mate, the grass is always greener.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, well, coming up, it wasn't always smiles at Dick Johnson Racing, and we'll go to the break celebrating a great moment from Oran Park back in 1988. Enjoy this.
Lighting up the tyres, Dick Johnson, bring it off the start, and down into the bottom corner. 9 rounds completed of the Shell Ultra Championship Series. The last lap board is coming out. How does it feel, Dick Johnson?
Yeah, mate, I tell you, Bowie must be having a few problems too, because this whole thing wouldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. Have a listen to it, will you? I'm glad it's not 500 k's.
Spectators standing, acknowledging the 88's Australian Touring Car Champion. The hand comes out the window, the checkered flag is out. How does it feel, Dick Johnson?
Mate, fantastic. Thanks to the guys, they are excellent. They've done a great job.
Whoa, what's happening here? Oh, dear, oh dear. Whoa! Collision between the teammates. Johnson tags the back of Bowe, and they both go spinning down the track. Neil Crompton was just holding on there, trying to avoid that. That is just unbelievable. The two Shell Helix cars. There's Dick Johnson, his teammate, and more importantly, team boss.
Like I said at the top of the program, these guys are great mates, fantastic teammates, always work perfectly together. You could just see it in that clip there. What the hell happened? Yeah, harmony.
Harmony. Well, it was actually it wasn't. It was neither of our faults. It was Tony Longhurst had created that problem earlier by spinning out and driving back in front of us.
Well, what about Crompton lurking in the background? What were you doing lurking in the background there?
I was hoping that the two of them end up in the wall so I could sneak on through and be a couple
Watching
of
with amusement.
Yeah. Going, how good's this? 1997 that was, boys, on the Gold Coast. Extraordinary. Yeah.
It wasn't very popular. We weren't very popular in Spring Street in Melbourne at the time, were we? At the Shell Company.
A bit topical, given what happened a little while ago at Townsville between your two blokes at Jim Beam Racing, Dick.
Oh, but, let's put it this way, mate. It looks to say 1,000 words.
Well, of course, you did have lots of great success together. Let's have a look at a great moment here from 1995 with JB.
The start will be critical for Seaton. He's off the line, and I think he was away quicker, or marginally quicker than Bowe. But look at Dickie Johnson come up to split them between, and Brock goes down the outside. It's going to be a tight first turn. A Scaife moves to the outside, and a couple make a move up on the inside. Into the first turn, the two Shell Falcons. Seaton gets a bit of the rub there from Dick Johnson, who got off to a blinding start. One of the Shell cars has gone completely off the track. Yes. Let's have a look at this on the replay, race cam. Up on the inside goes Johnson. There's a bang there by the look of it with Seaton as they make the exit out of there.
Great work. I love that old vision. But what's really obvious, you guys got on top of the V8s very, very early. I think you actually built the first V8 Falcon, Dick.
Yeah, we did.
Neil Lowe was around in those days, but what we forget, the Stone brothers were part of your team then.
Yeah, they were. Well, not at that point in time, but they certainly came on board in the Sierra days. But and they did build the Falcon with us, because Neil Lowe was doing the Falcon in '93 or '92 actually, while we were still actually racing the Sierras. And ironically, the first car that was built was never accepted by CAMS.
I remember that, yes.
And ironically, when you really have a look at it, it's virtually identical to what we're driving today.
Absolutely.
Car of the future, all right.
Head of the time.
To throw it to JB, we all know in the room, we've JB, respect you, one of the greatest drivers we've had, mate. But when your car's a bucket,
when he butters you up like that, you know there's a sledge coming.
When you're having a bad day and your car's a bucket of pus, mate, you are the hardest bloke, bar no one, to get by. Dick, tell us that line. Harder
to pass than a kidney stone.
You've made an art form of it, mate.
Yeah, I know, and I'm still obviously getting credit for it. I don't think. I don't know whether you'd call it credit, but I didn't think it was that bad, really. But obviously, my reputation precedes me. I just used to fight for every bit of road.
That's why you keep telling me he's got 4 eyes.
I could always sort of sense when people were about to have a crack at me, that's all. So I didn't actually cut off, which is what I think people do a bit much now.
No.
They chop
you're
you off.
well over on the right-hand side.
Or wherever, yeah. I had a sense of when they were about to do something.
Quickly give me a snapshot of each other's strengths and weaknesses.
I think, from my point of view, people underestimate how good a driver Dick was. He was a fantastic driver, truly. I mean, an absolutely great driver. When I'd raced against lots of people.
You're embarrassing me now, mate.
I can see. I'd raced against lots of very good drivers in open wheelers, and when I joined Dick's team, I was absolutely shocked at how good he was, truly. And I was quite new to the touring car scene, and he was a
very
cracker.
natural.
He was a cracker, absolutely, yeah.
And on the other hand, I think JB was much more technical than I ever was.
He loved all the fiddling.
He loved it.
He'd ring you
Well,
up. What are your settings, mate?
Not unlike you, mate. To be quite
This
honest.
is driving mad.
But at the end of the day, like JB was, as I said, extremely hard to pass and very, very focused on winning. And obviously you can't do that unless you've got an awful lot of talent.
All right, we're celebrating one of the great partnerships in Australian motorsport. Heaps of V8 wins, Australian Touring Car Championship wins, Bathurst wins, Championship wins, pole positions. These guys did it all. Coming up, we've got more from the 7 Volt, and we'll go to the break with one of the great moments from Oran Park in 1995 for JB's championship win.
A perfect day for him, the winner of the Peter Jackson Dash, the winner of the opening heat this morning, and the second heat this afternoon. The grand final has been dominated by this man, John Bowe, the new national champion. He's done it in all other forms of racing. He's finally done it in the touring car. John Bowe, our national champion.
Oh, mate, what a race. What a race.
Checkered flag is out for you.
Is the moment. Savour it, John.
John Bowe wins the 1994 Tui's 1000. Dick Johnson is absolutely jubilant, as you'd expect.
Well, what can you say about the guy? He's a Tasmanian, he's got a beard, he's got everything like that going for him. But he's a good guy, he drives very well, and he's a great part of a good team.
Our special guests celebrating their 94 Bathurst win. The voices of Mike Raymond, Doug Mulray and Mark Osler in the background there. Things have changed over the years. Boys, that was hard fought. You did a good job for that one.
It was a great race, actually. It was a fantastic motor car, the best car I've ever driven at Bathurst. It was the most balanced car.
Yeah.
You could, one of those cars you could do anything with, and it wasn't going to bite you. You know, it just felt so good.
So good. DJ, got to ask you, you were a pioneer of race cam. Now, we even know from stuff we've done this year, we can't drive a race car around a circle without dropping 4 or 5
We can't
seconds
do this one very well at all.
You did it time and time again. I mean, how did you... Well, were you dropping a couple of seconds late? We didn't see it.
No, not really. I probably lost a tenth or something at the worst, but most of the time you just sort of waffle whatever was in your head, you know. Like some people used to sing when they're driving.
Yeah.
Mind you, I do remember the time when the rear wing broke on the thing when you're busy chatting away. That got your attention.
That certainly got my attention, I can tell you.
We've got a little bit of vision. Just have a look at this. This is great.
And what graphic pictures from race cam we're getting at the moment. The John Giddings number 60 Nissan Gazelle in there as well. And he's a busy man at the moment, but I wonder whether I can squeeze a word in edgeways with Dick. You there, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
How's it going?
It's just that bloody Jaguar, mate. He's about 10 laps. Oh, I don't believe it.
He speaks highly of you, Dick.
Yeah, I'm sure. Here's another turkey.
So how's it all sitting?
Mate, everything's going fine.
All the needles hanging in the right spot?
Mate, all the needles are... I don't know about hanging in the right spot, but they're hanging.
Have a chat there on race cam with DJ. John, you weren't quite as outgoing when it came to having a chat.
No, I used to lose plenty,
Concentration, money, time.
exactly. Plenty of seconds. So, you know, I honestly was always amazed how Dick did it. But I think he'd been doing it so long that, you know, in the early days when we drove the Sierras, I used to be hooked up to his radio.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, so every time he was having a waffle on the radio,
I would have been
television,
searching for the plug.
Oh, it was shocking, just shocking. I couldn't even drive listening, let alone talking.
Hey, I want to go back to 1994 because that was significant. It was a great day for you guys. Your son Stephen got his big break up there, and ever since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, he's loved Bathurst. Craig Lowndes got his run. You had a big hit out with him at the end of the race. It was a good day.
It was a great day, and as Dick alluded to earlier, the teamwork that we had then was terrific. Ross and Jimmy Stone were there. We had Dick had a great bunch of people, very dedicated, and really it was like the team effort. The car was terrific, and we had Dunlop tyres, which were really good for the conditions, and just the way the guys made the calls. We changed to wets, we changed to dry, we went to intermediates once, like it was a very complex race.
Zigged and zagged at all the right times.
Zigged and zagged at the right times, and at the end of it, you know, the car was good, so you never win a race without a good car.
Well, the thing is that as you know, there's not any one thing that wins races. It's a combination of everything. And we had a great combination.
DJ, tell us about 1992. You remember that podium? You know, filthy weather, exotic cars. I think you were peeking around in some of them up there. Perhaps even a defining moment that's landed our sport where we are today. Just let's relive that little moment.
It's one of those things where obviously the rules are the rules and you've got to accept them. And I suppose in some way we got a little bit back at Queensland Raceway a number of years later, but Queensland Raceway is certainly no substitute for Bathurst. And you know, it was just one of those things where it was a tortoise and the hare deal. And we were the bit of a tortoise, and the Nissan was fantastic in the wet. If I ever said we drove a perfect race, it was that race.
We thought we'd won, actually. We honestly thought we'd won. Because we made the call, Dick made the call, and he put the wets on at the right time, so he was still circulating when the race was stopped. So, you know, we went to the tower for the presentation thinking we'd won. So we were actually we were as shocked as anybody.
It was a tough old day for everybody, and I think all of us will go to our graves remembering that podium. I certainly will. Coming up, we're going to take a look at how Dick treated the Yanks when he went NASCAR racing at Sears Point and various places in the US. And we'll have a look at Glenn Seaton and John Bowe getting together at Bathurst. This is a bit vigorous. Check it out.
This has been a fabulous race. It's hard to do as well. Look at that.
Oh, he's got him sideways!
No, I don't believe he touched him.
No,
I don't believe he did touch him.
Wasn't much in it.
Yeah.
Johnson just can't believe it.
He's still Bobby Hillen, and he's in 11th position. Bobby Hillen there, and car number 8 is in 10th. Oh, he spins, Jerry.
He loops it around in turn 11, and Richard Petty is also involved. A lot of cars out of turn 11, Bob.
After the frustration of the Petty-induced spin, Dick found himself in the wars again later in the race. He launched himself into a tyre wall and then gave the US TV fans a dose of classic Johnson car chat.
Dick, you had a great run. How did your day go prior to this point?
Well, I'm just waiting for these turkeys to lift me off here. All I want to do is get back and have a go.
Classic DJ there. And president of the Richard Petty fan club that day, you gave him a spray.
Well, when he sort of ran into me in that situation.
Who I might mention, if you don't know, was the king of NASCAR.
Absolutely.
So we exported Dick over there to tickle him up a bit.
He was like Michael Johnson over there. And I sort of call up my crew chief, as they call him over there, who was Ray Evanhan.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Ray, do you see where that prick did? He dove straight to the side of him. And unbeknownst to me, I'd call him this dreadful name over national television. But after that, it took me 6 meetings to convince him that a prick in Australia was a term of endearment rather than anything else.
DJ, I know one of your fondest moments, you brought Sierras out here from the UK to Australia, then you went actually back with your own car and took on the Poms, and you may not have won the race, but you absolutely nailed them, I remember, in lap speed. I mean, that must have been a great time.
Well, JB and I went over there, and we'll never forget this. It was
88.
Yeah, 1988. It was absolutely fantastic, and I think it was because of the embarrassment that we'd had the year before at Bathurst, where the Eggenberger cars and that came out here and made us look stupid, and I felt ashamed to be an Australian, to be quite honest. And so when the opportunity came around where we could actually have a budget from Redcoat and that to go over there, and we put it on pole by about 1.4 seconds or something.
You did.
And we sort of continued on the race until we had a water pump
But
fail.
just remember those Poms when they come in, he got nailed for bloody fudging, didn't they?
Well, they did, yeah. In 87 they did, but it was just amazing because these guys, I'd seen them, but never raced against them, and we just absolutely blitzed
Great old
them.
track, the old Silverstone.
It's the old fast Silverstone. It was just fantastic.
Absolutely, you had to have big everything to go fast around there.
I mean, you really knew you were going. You know, you get all that wind sort of buffeting and things.
Great achievement on the world stage.
Absolutely. As I'm sure you're all aware, all four of us have had one or two accounts with the wall, which explains a lot about our behaviour. So have a look at this bone jarrer from Phillip Island back in 1996 for John Bowe.
Craig Lowndes. John Bowe, though, has latched onto his tail and will not let... Oh,
he's
Lowndes is off!
And so's Bowe.
Well, that's remarkable because there was no touch there.
That's a big accident.
Oh, it is a bad one. That is John Bowe Now, there didn't appear to be any touch between those cars at all.
No.
Sensation here. The first lap, this second heat. John Bowe, OK, out of the car and walking away.
I need headache tablets just to relive that. Looks ordinary.
It was the worst accident I've ever had. I've had a few, not hurting ones, but I've had a few. That was terrible. I mean, it was really amazing, and nobody got a photograph of it.
Like hell, mate, they did, because we had it up on our workshop. It was the first time we got to see underneath one of your cars.
That's only after
we measured it, we scaled it. There was an auto action. It was great.
Wally Story did the same thing.
Now, boys, we've got to jump to an email. We've got one from Mark Meldrum of Boona, Queensland. Do you blokes, through all your memories, have a favourite car or favourite memory together?
My favourite car was that one, which ended up on the scrap
before
heap.
or after the shunt.
Yeah, on the
It was a
scrap heap.
94 winner.
Yeah, that was the 94 winner, which had been upgraded to an
EF.
EF.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
And
Yeah,
DJ?
EF. You know your Fords?
Anyone that won.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I love the Sierra. The green car, the green stuff car, was something pretty special. People love that thing, and it was. And even when I drove it at the Gold Coast last year, boy, you just don't realise how good that thing was.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Guys, I would love to chat, seriously, and I want to have you back sometime so that we can go for another half hour or maybe more at some point. It's been a great pleasure today. Thanks for dropping in.
Absolute pleasure.
John Bowe and Dick Johnson and Mark Larkham joining us today. We've got an eye towards the Enduros coming up. Our next big gig is the LNH 500 at Phillip Island, but we're thinking about the super cheap auto Bathurst 1000, 3 days of coverage on 7 October through 10. You can see the details there. Thanks to Big Pond Sport. Our next V8 Extra is next weekend, Saturday, midday. We're going to be off to Kelly Racing in Melbourne. We've got a very special show and an audience in for that one. Looking forward to it. Hope to have your company next week. Thanks for watching today. Bye for now.